The year is 1850, and the Russian Empire is facing serious challenges. Militarily and economically, the Tsarist Empire was far from matching the major European powers of the time. This was mainly due to the fact that industrialization, which had already begun in Western Europe in the 18th century, only started in the early 19th century in the Russian Empire, and then progressed slowly due to its social structures, geographical location, and political leadership. The once mighty empire, led by figures such as Ivan the Terrible and Peter the Great, had become only a shadow of its former self. At the same time, the USA, a relatively young nation still establishing itself, was in a phase of strong territorial expansion to the west. In contrast to the Russian Empire, industrialization began early in the USA, leading to a significant economic boom. This economic dynamism allowed the USA to rapidly expand its infrastructure and solidify its position as an emerging power. As the USA expanded westward, it was only a matter of time before its interests collided with those of Russia. Soon, Americans were competing with Russian explorers and traders along the North American Pacific coast. Despite their interest in the resource-rich and sparsely populated Alaska, the Russians lacked the financial means to establish large settlements or defend the territory militarily. For instance, when Alaska was still under Russian control, the number of Russian settlers never exceeded about 400, despite the territory covering a vast area of 1,723,000 square kilometers. The devastating defeat of the Russian Empire in the Crimean War against the Allied powers of France, Great Britain, and the Ottoman Empire plunged the country into a deeper crisis. Eventually, it was realized that Alaska could not be adequately defended in the event of another conflict, leading to the decision to sell it. Initially, there was another interested party besides the USA, Great Britain. After the Crimean War, Russia was not in the mood to negotiate with Great Britain or to leave Alaska to a potential new enemy. Therefore, in 1859, Russia decided to offer Alaska to the USA, partly due to their shared hostility towards Great Britain and agreement on most foreign policy issues. It was also rumored that Alaska was offered to Liechtenstein because of the very good relations of Prince Franz with Tsar Alexander II. Unfortunately, there are no historical documents proving this. The sale of Alaska was delayed by the American Civil War and negotiations stalled. However, after the war, Secretary of State William Seward accepted a new Russian offer, and on March 30, 1867, he agreed to a proposal by the Russian minister Eduard de Stuckel in Washington to purchase Alaska for $7.2 million. In today's terms, this would be approximately $120 million. The Senate approved the purchase on April 9th, President Andrew Johnson signed it on May 28th, and on October 18, 1867, Alaska was formally transferred to the United States. The reactions to the Alaska purchase were mixed in both countries. In Russia, there was a sense of loss and confusion over why such a large territory, which had long been part of the Russian Empire, was sold. On the other hand, many Russians felt indifferent, as Alaska was a distant and insignificant territory for them. In the USA, the purchase was initially met with skepticism and ridicule, with many unable to understand why so much money was spent on what seemed like barren land. However, some optimistic voices saw the purchase as a wise investment for the future. This proved to be accurate when a major gold deposit was discovered in the neighboring Yukon in 1896, and Alaska's strategic importance was recognized during World War II, when it became a crucial base in the North Pacific and for the defense of North America. On January 3, 1959, Alaska was finally admitted to the United States as a state. So, what do you think? Was the sale of Alaska one of the dumbest deals in history? If you enjoyed the video and would like to learn more about a brutal dictatorship in Central Africa, I can recommend my last video. Have fun watching, and ciao!